Skip the flank right stack, 32 Sam, alert X foot. Oh, spicy nuggets are back. I might have to stop on the way home.
As you guys can tell, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys are feeling so good about themselves that he really doesn't even need to focus on the play at hand. He's focusing on getting spicy chicken nuggets after the game. I thought that was pretty funny. What's going on, guys? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another NFL recap. This is week number 3, so if you guys are brand new to the channel or if you usually watch me for Major League Baseball, I post an NFL recap every single Tuesday right around 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time once all of the games are over, because a lot of you, just like myself this weekend, I didn't watch a single game because I was out living life, so I actually recapped for myself as well. So if you missed the games, here we go. Also, quick little side note, if you're going to any football games anytime soon, I can actually get you $20 off your entire order if you choose to purchase tickets from SeatGeek. So if you want to save some money, put in code Fuzzy and you do that. Anyways, we're gonna jump straight into the games, and also if you see me looking down, it's because I have my script right here because there's a lot to get into. The first game that I want to talk about was the Thursday game. We have the Titans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do not think that Marcus Mariota, I do not think that he is going to be the quarterback of the future for the Titans. In my opinion, I think it's time to abandon ship. Now, if you want to go ahead and stay with him, that's completely up to you. But one guy that I'm really starting to like is Mr. Gardner Minshew. This guy reminds me of Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, roll it.
Play action. Minshew wide open for the touchdown. O'Shaughnessy. Here's one for the end zone. Chark.
So you guys just saw it right there. If you're not reminded of Uncle Rico when you see Gardner Minshew, I'm not sure what you're looking at, but the Jaguars, they had a really awesome performance, as well as their defense. They won 20-7 over a pretty decent Titans team. Honestly, I thought the Titans looked great in week 1, but maybe that says more about the Browns as opposed to the Titans. What do you guys think? Speaking of the Browns, what the heck is happening to Baker Mayfield? This guy was one of the best quarterbacks. He was considered elite towards the end of the season last year in 2018, but now he's not looking so great. If you take a look at the stats, he's actually regressing, and yesterday he had a chance to win the ball game against a really good LA Rams team, but he just decided, I don't know if it's the offensive line, he's just terrified of what's happening. He had happy feet. He could have dove into the end zone, given his team the victory, but instead, Cooper Kupp, Jared Goff, and the Rams, yeah, they steal a victory. I'm not going to ask you guys too many questions, but here is a question for all of you Browns fans or even just football fans. Do you think that loss was more on the hands of Baker Mayfield, or do you think that Freddie Kitchens deserves most of the blame? Because in my opinion, Freddie Kitchens, he's a rookie head coach. His play calling has been pretty bad in my opinion, so I think that he needs to work on it, as well as Baker Mayfield. I feel like right now he's trying to get too many people involved. Just go for the open target and stick with that. Also, Nick Chubb, why are we not getting him involved? The entire football world seems to be, well, actually, not the entire football world. Stephen A. Smith of First Take has seemingly given up on Lamar Jackson. He was on the hype train. He actually had Lamar Jackson as the 3rd player in the MVP voting before week 3, and then all of a sudden he says he can't throw, even though the Ravens only lost by 5 points to the Kansas City Chiefs. I almost said the Royals. I'm still in the baseball mood, but the fact that the Ravens, they only lost by 5. You have Mark Ingram going for 3 touchdowns. You have Lamar Jackson running for another one, so 4 complete touchdowns from the run game. I just don't understand why people are hopping off the Lamar Jackson train. I understand that he threw almost 50 times. I think that they should cut that down a little bit more, but when you're going up against Patrick Mahomes and he throws 27 of 37 for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns, you're not going to beat him unless your name is Tom Brady. So I think that we need to cut back on the hatred for Lamar Jackson and start giving some respect to him, because I know his completion percentage was not that great, but the run and their defense, it wasn't bad. It's just you're playing the Chiefs, you're playing the Warriors. Up next, we have to talk about the Carolina Panthers. In their first game without Cam Newton, led by Kyle Allen, this guy threw 4 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey did this.
He's done all right for himself. McCaffrey picks up the first down, has some room, makes a man miss. Christian McCaffrey in the open field, inside the 30, inside the 20. McCaffrey touchdown.
And on top of Kyle Allen and Christian McCaffrey going off, the Carolina Panthers defense, I could be wrong with this. I mean, I might be dyslexic and I might have read this wrong, so if I am, I'm sorry. But I read and I saw from the Gamecast that the Panthers had 8 sacks and 2 picks. you're not beating them. So in my opinion, I think what the Carolina Panthers should do is I don't think that they should rush Cam Newton back. I think that Kyle Allen, he can win them a few ball games, especially when you have Christian McCaffrey going for 153 yards and doing what he did. That dude can move, so I think that he should sit out. We're talking about Cam Newton. I think that he needs to be out until Thanksgiving. Panthers, I'm not saying that you should give up on Newton forever, but Kyle Allen, he can carry the load right now. The next two games I want to talk about real quick. The reason why I'm pairing them together is because the teams that won, they were actually kind of a surprise team. The fact that they were underdogs going into the game, but really their special teams efforts gave them the W. The first team we're talking about is the Lions. They beat Carson Wentz and the Eagles. Now, the one thing I will say is Doug Peterson, I think he's a great coach, but the fact that the running game is pretty much non-existent, it's very uncreative for the Eagles. I think that they need to play a little bit better. The first half for the Eagles has been terrible the last 2 weeks. And then we know that the Lions, they were carried by the special teams, as well as the New Orleans Saints. They got a punt return. So I just don't understand how the Saints are able to get a victory after Russell Wilson throws for 406 yards. He doesn't give any picks. He also is not sacked. The other team has Teddy Bridgewater and Alvin Kamara being held under 100 yards, yet the Saints win because Kamara it's just a really weird series of events. So the Saints win and the Lions win pretty much because of special teams. The Eagles now drop to 1-2 on the season, so I'm curious if they're going to be able to rebound. I think that they will because they've played some pretty decent teams. Also, Nelson Aguilar, he's fumbling, he's dropping passes. I do think that he has some things to work on in practice. If you disagree with me, unfortunately you're wrong. Now, one thing I was really happy to see is the Daniel Jones era is in full effect. If we take a look at his stats, in his first ever National Football League start, this guy threw for 336 yards with 2 touchdowns, and also he had the game-winning rushing touchdown, so 3 combined touchdowns. This guy was an absolute maniac. Now, on the opposite side of the ball, Jameis Winston and Mike Evans, they were monsters yesterday, which just compliments Daniel Jones and the Giants even more. I feel like he's able to play well, and then the Giants are able to get behind him and actually be excited to play football, as opposed to Eli Manning, very lax, kind of just looks lost all the time. Maybe that's just me, but the Buccaneers, with the help of their new coordinator, they actually don't look too bad. It's just Daniel Jones, he looks to be the real deal. So the Jets versus the Patriots, this was pretty much a single-A baseball team up against the New York Yankees. You are not going to beat the Patriots if you are the Jets. I'm sorry. I know if Sam Darnold comes back, maybe it's a closer game. But speaking of the Patriots, I'm going to roll some highlights right now. Antonio Brown was released, and he threatened, I don't even know if he threatened, I think he pretty much said that he is retiring from the NFL. And if we take a look at his social media, he is enlisted in college. He's actually taking management, which I've taken. So pretty much I'm on the same level, or I was on the same level as Antonio Brown. He threw away $40 million in the span of a month. I don't think that you can make $40 million doing anything else but playing football if you're Antonio Brown. But hey, that's just me. The Madden curse is still in full effect.
I would not want to come in on Sunday or come in during the week and we cannot focus on the game of football. And now that he doesn't have football, the people around him close better just pay attention to him and just keep him close.
Dalvin Cook is leading the National Football League in rushing yards for this 3rd straight game. He goes for over 100 yards. He also has a touchdown. Now, the one thing I want to say about the Vikings is as long as Kirk Cousins plays like Alex Smith before Patrick Mahomes was actually introduced to the Chiefs, if he can just game manage, the Vikings actually look pretty good. And Dalvin Cook, this guy is just so special. He can avoid tackles like it's his day job. Now, actually is his day job. Now, the one thing I want to say is the Raiders' offensive line was just completely terrible, and also the Vikings were able to shut down Josh Jacobs. Derek Carr was not that great as well. Everyone says that Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback. I saw it in week 1 against the Broncos, my team, but against a good defense and a good team that, you know, actually is able to take care of time of possession, Derek Carr is all right. I don't see it. Keenan Allen had a monster game yesterday for the Chargers and is actually leading the entire National Football League in reception yards. But guess what? The Chargers, they continue to disappoint at the start of the season. They actually lost the ball game yesterday. They went up against the Houston Texans. Now, a lot of people don't seem to believe in Deshaun Watson. I do. I watched a lot of Colin Cowherd and a lot of First Take Undisputed. Some people just are not on the Deshaun Watson bandwagon. I am. I think that he has a pretty good arm. It's not always accurate. Playing like pre-MVP Cam Newton, I feel like he's on the way to becoming an MVP caliber player. That's just me. If we take a look, the Texans defense had 5 sacks. I think that the Texans, they're a real team. They maybe not be in the Power 5 for NFL teams, but I think they're they're really good. Now we're going to talk about a surprise team. The Buffalo Bills are 3-0, and I think the biggest reason is because of Josh Allen. They are a cold weather team, so they need a guy with a big arm. On top of that, not only does Josh Allen have a cannon for an arm, this dude can also run. I'm going to go ahead and show this clip right here.
For 32 yards, and he is breaking away from the defender. He stumbles toward the 20, pumps once, runs in.
They were able to hold off Andy Dalton and the Bengals because they were going to make a comeback. The Bills, they end up winning 21-17 on a game-ending interception. So the Bills, are they the real deal at 3-0? I think so. Speaking of the real deal, I think that Jacoby Brissett is on his way to being one of the better quarterbacks in his division, because now that Andrew Luck is gone, it's pretty much up for the grabs. Maybe not completely up for grabs just yet, but we do have Jacoby Brissett this game. I mean, if we take a look at his stats, he was 28 of 37 with 310 yards with 2 touchdowns. Matt Ryan was not perfect, but he did have a pretty good game. It's just one of those things that when you have Jacoby Brissett doing his thing and then Marlon Mack with the game-winning touchdown, it's kind of hard to beat the Colts even without Andrew Luck. They're a pretty overall good team. The Denver Broncos have 0, I repeat, 0 sacks through 12 quarters. That's 3 games, I believe. I could be doing my math. 4. Yeah, it's 12 quarters, 0 sacks. And you have Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and Derek Wolfe. And we just took the guy from the Bears, who was the defensive coordinator, and now we can't get sacks. I just don't understand it. This was an easy win for the Packers. Joe Flacco's boring. The Packers won easy. It's just not even, we're 0-3, what can I say? Now, the next game I want to talk about, I'm not even really going to go in depth. If you missed it, if you're a 49ers fan, you've probably seen it. Also, if you're a Steelers fan, you've probably seen it as well. But we have the 49ers versus the Steelers. Let's see who won.
Garoppolo throwing at the goal line, touchdown! Dante Pettis.
And then the final game I need to recap is the Monday game. So this happened yesterday. We have the Bears game. They won pretty easily. We see that the Redskins, they were just no match against Khalil Mack and the Bears. The Danny Trevathan was insane. We also saw that Clinton Dix returned a interception for a touchdown. So when you have Khalil Mack doing his thing, he was stripping footballs. Danny Trevathan was doing his thing. The defense came in huge. Also, Mitchell Trubisky, he did not throw the game away. So the Bears, they won super easy yesterday, just like the Packers. All right, guys, well, that is going to do it for today's NFL recap. If you did enjoy, make sure you slap a like on this one. If you want to continue to see the series, make sure that you subscribe, because I post these every single Tuesday. Also, use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek if you're going to any football games, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. I'm going to go sign up for college classes. Maybe I'll run into Antonio Brown.